back to the show. This is the Arroyo Show. My name is Brandon Arroyo. If it's your first time here, please give it a thumbs up and a subscribe. What a guest we have for you today. Starting off Season 3 with the one and only Tiffany Stringer. How are you, Tiffany?
I'm good. How are you, Brandon?
Amazing. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Where are you at right now? What do you got going on?
I'm currently in Texas. I'm staying at my parents' house in Dallas, Texas.
You know what's interesting is there was a stat on the news the other day. 50% of people between the ages of 18 and 30 are currently staying with their parents. Isn't that?
Yeah.
That's just like...
And I'm a part of it.
it's like the new thing. There needs to be a new version of Friends on NBC or CBS where it's you're living with your parents.
That is genius, Brandon. Because, I mean, truthfully, so many people relate to it. And, like, it's been so nice. I moved home in September because my lease was up. And I had looked for places, and it was just like, why am I rushing to find a new place and spending rounds? Like, I'm going to go save some money.
Heck yeah. Go ahead. I'm going to give you a little ching-ching sound effect right there because that is so, like, it's you have to right now, especially for those of you that don't live in Los Angeles. Rent in Los Angeles, even right now, is ridiculous. Even in the last 5 years, it has, like, skyrocketed up. Even though they're creating new apartment buildings, it's still... You know, you can't find a studio apartment for less than $1,500. So
literally,
it's strange, which is different because was that what it was when you first moved out? Because you moved out at 17. You graduated early and you moved out.
If I remember correctly, it was... I mean, it moved up as I lived there, but I think it was like $1,200 when I started out. But I moved in with someone, and that was the rent that she was like, it's gonna be this much, and it had gone up in that time frame. But even for a 2-bedroom to split that, like that alone is $2,400. Like that's a lot for just like one space. So,
right.
And it doesn't get much cheaper for like a 1-bedroom or a studio. So.
You almost have to have a roommate in Los Angeles. It's almost cliche to say it, but you have to have some other person that is in on rent with you, or else you can't be in Los Angeles right now, which is unfortunate because the music scene in Los Angeles was just unmatched. For those of you guys that don't know, Tiffany I first interviewed back in 2018 when I moved out to LA. You were the first person I knew in LA, so every time you had a concert, I was like, my friend has a concert. I'm going to go to see this concert. And so I saw probably like 5 or 6 independent music venues within the first 6 months of living there because of the different shows that you had done.
So many concerts that year too. So it was like you were right there and all of it.
The timing was perfect. I think the first one was at The Study. That's the name of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was my first concert of the year.
Yeah, that was so much fun. I can remember going on Hollywood Boulevard to see someone I knew performing, and I was like, this is such a memory right here. This is such a moment. Like, I was so happy. So thank you for giving me that memory, Tiffany.
Thank you for being there. That was such a, like, that's a show I'll remember forever because that was, like, the first time I had done a full band show before in the previous year, but it was like the first one that I planned thoroughly, and I was really I was just like wanting people there so bad. So I went out, I literally hung up flyers. Like I did the works for that show. So it was such a special one because I feel like it really paid off all that time and energy that went into it to make it happen.
Paid off is definitely the way to put it because I remember hearing a story like, okay, I want to preface this by saying this was the first concert I ever went to, so maybe I have a little romanticism about it because it was the first one I've been to in LA. But there's a story that used to be about Justin Bieber where when he was still climbing up the ranks or whatever, he did a show and there was a person that was on before him, but everybody was chanting Justin, Justin throughout that person's performance. On a smaller scale, there was an act that went on before you that night at the Study, and there was probably 70 people in there that were there to see you, and the entire crowd was all just waiting there for Tiffany. And I remember thinking, I was like, gosh, this person, Tiffany Stringer, has all the love in the world in this building right now. And when that first band walked off and you walked on, everybody was just like, Tiffany's here.
That was a really cool night. I just had never seen it all because obviously there's so many amazing people. I have so many people like that are so kind enough to support me and give me love. But that was like the first time I had all those people like in one room, and I had never.
Your parents were there. Your sister was there.
You what?
Your parents and your sister were there.
Yes, yeah, like, even the support from home had been there, like, it was just, like, so I just remember being so overwhelmed with love and just being like, "Wow, like, I can do this," like, and there's people that support me because sometimes you feel like, "Oh, no one's listening, no one's" if it's not constantly in your face, because everything is so constantly in people's face nowadays, you know? So it was just one of those moments that I'll never forget. I'm so glad you were there.
Oh, I'm so happy that I was able to see it and experience it. I'll throw up some like little video because I still have B-roll from that night because I shot pictures and video that night
Yes.
because I was just like I want to remember this forever. So, um, there were people when I was living in LA. I had a house with 30 roommates for
Yeah.
anybody that's not aware. And every time somebody would listen to your song, because you had pieces out for a couple of months at that point. I
Mhm,
believe that
mhm.
was that your first single?
Yes, yeah, my
So
first one.
Pieces had been out for a couple of months, and then while I was at this house, you released Blonde. And
Okay.
everybody that heard Blonde and Pieces was like, I want to work with Tiffany. Like everybody heard the music, and so just so you are aware, there was a lot of people that were hearing it and were like, "Wow, who is this?" So it's so
Wow.
easy to get caught in the, oh, I don't
Yes.
know if people are listening because every artist I think goes through that. But
Mhm,
there were everybody that heard the music, and if you haven't heard it yet, go listen to it now.
mhm.
It it was really high quality.
Yes, I appreciate you telling me
Yeah.
that.
All right. So as we started going a little further on into that year, 2019, and into 2020, you started producing a little bit. What made you make that switch into wanting to explore that other realm of music?
Well, it's funny. I've been able to put the words to why I was wanting to navigate that world. But I watched a YouTube video yesterday that like perfectly articulated it. It was a TED talk. I can send you the link. But basically, this woman was talking about how it's a language, and I've always heard that. But there's a language of songwriting and like the actual structure, and then there's a language of production, and it takes both of those parts to really get music out in the world. And I've always considered myself first and foremost just an entertainer. Like I feel like even with songwriting and instruments, that was always like something that was on the back burner for a while too. So then I started learning that, and the more I learned that, the more I realized how important production was and how that is a language I want to be able to, I don't know if I'm not going to say no to this because who knows what I'll discover in life. But I've never imagined myself as being like a producer for, other people are in that realm. But I do want to be able to communicate with producers. I want to, know the terms, know, what I'm talking about. Because for a long time when I would work with producers, I'd just be like, I want the guitar to sound creamier. And they're like, what is creamier? Like that is not like, I speak in these terms, but there are actual, like I learned that I wanted reverb. Like that is what I wanted. But if you don't know those terms, it
Right.
can be a block and can kind of inhibit the process of getting what you envision out there into the world. So that was like my
Absolutely.
main intention, I guess.
What's awesome is that I love the way you just put that right there, and maybe I could put it for like people that aren't into music, or everybody's into music, but for people who don't know music terms, it's almost
Mhm.
like if you were sitting in the kitchen with somebody and you were trying to explain what you're hungry for and what it is that you're trying to get, and you didn't speak English or the other person didn't speak
Mhm.
your language and you had to
Yes.
explain to them. For an
Yeah.
artist to put that feeling into their music, you have to know the term reverb or
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. So
It's
I was
definitely,
excited
yeah.
to hear that. And you put out a new song at that point. It was your
Mhm.
first time producing. When you put
Yeah.
out music and you are exploring a different area of music for the first time, were you nervous to put that out?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it wasn't as as terrifying as it could be because I co-produced that song, so it wasn't like I was fully going into like this is a song I made entirely on my own. I kind of had a almost like a buffer of like, okay, if people don't like it, then I can. There's still someone else I can like hold the blame with. Not that I would do that, but you know what I mean. Like it wasn't so like there's still a piece that was I was sharing it with someone, so going
Right.
into it with someone else still felt good. But I mean with anything, like the first time I put any song out ever, which I didn't produce at all, and I wrote the lyrics myself, that was a vulnerable thing. So each I'm thankful I'm doing it like piece by piece, pieces, no pun intended.
There it
And
is.
so it's like little by little I'm growing and stepping into those things because I don't know, I'd always imagine myself as this person that like needs to get everything done at this, once, but I'm
Right.
realizing more and more that I'm a person that loves baby steps, and I think that that's like kind of how life works is you just, it's like the saying like just grow like 1% every day. Just like become a little better 1%, and like by the time so many days go by you're going to be however many days percentage wise better, and so that's like kind of why I'm taking it as is like I'm not trying to force, push myself into something I'm not ready for, and so I think that's what's kind of given me the comfort to jump into those new places.
She is Tiffany Stringer. You can see her performing around LA once, well, if you go back either in time to 2019 or in the future. All right. So for those that are still, 16, 17, or they're in the romance of, oh my gosh, LA is the place where I have to be right now to do music. When you first got to LA, what tips do you have for someone that is first getting out there? Obviously, they need to have a job, but like to get into the music scene, because for
Yeah.
you to perform 7 or 8 different venues, you have to know
Mhm.
where the venues are. You have to know what the
Yes.
venues are. What
Yeah.
tips do you have for new people coming into LA?
So when I first started getting into shows, the biggest thing that helped me do that is it was just like a mindset switch. It was like, okay, we all know the thing. It's like no one's gonna come banging on your door begging you to like be what you want to be. No one's gonna hand you how to be that person. So you just have to like start with like little things to get closer to that person. So I just started going out to shows. I started making friends. I started asking questions and like really paying attention. Like, okay, what's working? What's not working? Where am I? Like, where is this show happening? Like, become familiar with just like the world of it. And then when I decided I wanted to start doing shows, I literally texted everyone I knew and I said, hey, if you're doing a show and you need an opener or you need someone, I am wanting to start doing shows. I texted everyone that I felt comfortable, like doing that. Cause obviously there's some people you're not gonna like, if you meet someone at a party, you're not gonna text and be like, hey, put me on a show. Cause it's just like sometimes it's too far fetched, but just people around you just being like, hey, let people know because people want to help other people. But if you're not being open about what you're wanting, then no one's ever gonna know. So I started texting people and I did just about like every free show I could do. Like I didn't get paid for pretty much all of the first shows I did. Or if I did, it'd be like I would still be, under, I can't think of the word, like, is it deficit? I don't know, but under the amount
In
I,
the
paid
red.
my musicians. Like I wasn't making any money. And which people always say, like, that's a true testament of like, you love what you're doing because, we're not making money. And I'm thankful that now I have more opportunities where I can do that. But you have to start somewhere and you kind of have to humble yourself and you have to work and you have to show people this is what I'm capable of. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, I see that you're great. So now I'm going to bring you to this show because they're not just going to bring anybody to, represent them as an opener, like you have to make sure you have to prove, that you're up for it. And so I just say, go for it. Take every opportunity you can. I like become a yes man. Like you just have to just jump in and do it. And that's the best way to learn and the best way to get yourself out there.
What do you got going on right now? So obviously you said that you're back in Texas. Are you working on any music? Are you writing right now? What's going on?
So it's been really nice on the topic of production stuff. Since I can't do all the live shows, it's kind of redirected me into learning the things that I can be doing right now, which I'm literally sitting at my studio right now. I have speakers right here. So I've been taking courses on production and just writing songs a lot. I goes in and out of phases because obviously life's not very like I mean, there with anything, you go through blocks and you go
Right.
through inspiration periods. But so I'm writing a lot right now. I had actually a ton of songs that I had already written pre-quarantine, and so I'm producing those and getting those ready. I have some that are being mixed and like almost ready to go. I'm like working on the artwork for them and everything, which I'm really excited about. So that's kind of what's coming next. And the next chapter of my music is going to be more on the acoustic side, actually.
Awesome.
So I started learning guitar in the end of 2019. Yeah. And so it's the songs that I was writing while learning guitar. And so that's going to be like the next phase of music. And you'll really get to see like it's pretty stripped down, but I'm so excited about it because I feel like it's the most me because I'm more like this is the first time I'd ever, written chords or like completely wrote lyrics on my own or like without any influence of other people around
Right.
me. So it's a different experience. So I'm excited for that.
There's so much that goes into making music and so many little things like that. Like you said, chords,
Mhm.
chords, progressions, and putting in dubs. It's like it's you for you to say that you're doing every step of it now. It's going to be very exciting to see what exactly comes out in the next couple of well, whenever you end up putting out the
Yeah.
music. All right.
Yeah.
So for outside of music, what does life look like for you right now, Tiffany? What are you doing to keep yourself busy? What are you up to?
Yes. Okay. So what am I keeping to do myself busy? So my sister's about to get married at the end of this
Yes.
month. And
Congratulations.
yes, she is so happy. So that's kind of been like what our family life has been revolving around, which I'm really excited. And she asked me to be the maid of honor, which I've never done before. So it's coming with
Oh.
all of its trials and tribulations of learning that. But it's been really, really exciting, and it's brought us really close together. So that's been making me happy. And then as far as like what my time goes by, I mean, I'm learning a lot, like I said, on in just like the technology world. But I also signed up for this has just been so much fun. You've heard of Masterclass?
Yes.
Okay, so I signed up for that and it's freaking amazing, Brandon. Like I literally just signed up for it. So I'm still on my first class, but I'm
Which
watching
instructor are you doing?
it's Shonda Rhimes.
Okay.
Um and there are so many golden nuggets. Like I'm literally like I'm watching and I have to pause because I have to just like write stuff down and like this is something I
I
just am
love
very
those moments
fascinated.
where you just sit back and like, oh, that was awesome.
Yes, I literally it's insane, and I just watched, her new show Bridgerton with my mom, and which I don't know if I would recommend watching it with your parents because it's pretty but we were already into it. It was like we were just like, "Okay," like,
Right.
but it's by Shonda Rhimes, and it has been so interesting because as I've watched the masterclass episodes, her talking about how she develops characters and how she pitches the shows and what makes a show a good show, I'm like seeing it all play out in Bridgerton, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it is so clear, like what she does, and it's just so
Right.
nice that she's laying it out. So it's so awesome. They're doing like a deal right now, like I think it was 180 for two people. You could split it, which is it was only $90 for a whole year, and so I'm trying to
Right.
do as many classes as I can.
Yeah, because you
But
get access to the whole library, right?
oh, literally every class. My
Yeah.
intention was I'm doing a production class right now, so I'm kind of behind on it. But I was like, in its entirety, the classes are like 6 hours, so you can definitely do like one class per week, And if you're learning all of this information for only $90 the whole year, like it just is. It's like a no brainer, So especially if they have classes of things you want to know about and you want to know about a variety of topics. So that's been like taking up my time like right now, but I don't know, my main thing has been like working on music and my sister's wedding.
It's like I think that any artist though is going to have other areas of performance that they're interested in. Like no matter who you are. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
even if you look at there's major rappers that wish they were professional athletes and professional
Yeah.
athletes that all want to try to be rappers and
Mhm.
singers and music and they call it the triple threat, right? You can act, you
Yeah.
can sing, you can dance.
Yeah.
It's I think any artist has that sort of vibe to be like, I want to get out and try these different things.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's because like at the core of everything, it's just creative energy. And I'm a big believer that like we're all creative. It's just a matter of if we want to like do it as a career, do it as a hobby, or keep it to ourselves. But
Right.
creativity is even in like the type of toothpaste you choose. Like that's a creative choice. You have a choice between Crest and Arm and Hammer. Like that is a choice that colors your life, and so it's just a matter of like where you want that to take you. And like there's the mindset behind a lot of things is very similar, just with different terminology and like why we do things or the way certain industries work. So I love when people cross over and they're not bound by one thing. So and it opens my eyes up to seeing music in a different way when I study like how to be a screenwriter. So it's very fun.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should box themselves into one sort of art form just because they think that that's where they're, either successful in or feeling pigeonholed in it because that's where people expect you to be. Or like, because I think there's a lot of people that don't want to try something new just because, they're known as this person. So they want to stick with that one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
Mhm.
before we let you go, what can we expect from you over the next couple of months as we start here into 2021?
Yes. Okay. So, what's coming for me is the music, and I'm hoping to have my first song out in February. Fingers crossed. We're working, or I say we're, but the people I'm hiring to help me get this done are working hard to make sure we can get it out. And I think I have like a couple songs. I don't know if I'll make a full EP, but I have enough songs to do it. I don't know if I want to release them as singles or what, but I have at least 3 songs coming out, in the works of that next process to get them out. So you'll definitely be getting them. I'm hoping to just put out an absolute crap ton of music. Like I'm
Oh,
just like I'm gonna just start giving it. So yeah, and it'll be like acoustic. I'm being very this set of music is very influenced by like Claro, Lord, um who else? It's just like more indie, more acoustic, and yeah, very like acoustic guitar based, and yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I'm really excited.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it as well. Everybody, this is all of Tiffany Stringer's social media handles. Go ahead and check her out. Tiffany, thank you so much with the dance move as we begin the outro music. Thank you for hanging out with us today, Tiffany.
Thank you.